On mat 8, we've got a middle heavyweight match. And Robert, I'm kind of excited for this one because this is a really interesting match for me. We've got Gabriel Almeida on the right, representing Checkmat, up against Rafael Paganini of Alliance. And Paganini is a relatively new black belt. This is his first season as a black belt.
And Gabriel straight for the footlock, right off the bat, straight footlock. Let's see if you can get
from that double guard pull.
Yeah. And the great strategy about when on double guard pull, attacking the footlock, is that you can force your opponent to come up to defend, which is what you want. You want to be on bottom. And while he scores that advantage for coming up, you score the advantage for the footlock, right? I learned that strategy from Mike Mutsumesi. He used that a lot
He's so good
in his fights. And it's great strategy. You attack the foot, and if you get it, great. And if you don't, you're exactly where you want to be. The score is even.
Almeida on a straight ankle here, actually. Rolling through. Paganini manages to slip his ankle out. Almeida still seems to be hunting after that leg, trying to suck Paganini in. As I mentioned, Paganini, a relatively new face on the black belt scene. This is his rookie year competing as a black belt. First time competing here at No-Gi World Championships. And a couple of years ago, actually, Fabio Gurgel pointed him out to me as one to watch. He was a brown belt at the time, training at the Sao Paulo HQ there under Gurgel. And he was right. This kid's definitely something special. But I got to say, Almeida is a tough test. Almeida is something of a dark horse, right, Robert?
Yeah, and he's up there. He's a high-level competitor, but you're right. Like people, a lot of fans may not know him, but you know, if you've been following his career, like he's always been up there. He's a high-level guy. He could beat just about anyone in the division. But Paganini is new. Like what we mentioned, you know, he's probably, you know, a lot less experienced than Gabriel in general. But you know, it doesn't mean much. They're both black belts at the World Championship, so anything could happen. I like the Paganini, the Alliance camp in Sao Paulo, where Paganini comes from, has put out some of the best grapplers in the history of the sport, no doubt, and consistently, right? It's even like a lot of the guys that, you know, some of the biggest hubs for Alliance around the world came out of Sao Paulo. That, you know, and they're not always like from Sao Paulo themselves, but they go to Sao Paulo and then they win a world championship. Exactly. Right? And then they go around the world, and like Cobrinha and Marcelo Garcia, were some of the biggest, you know, camps for Alliance around the world. They originally came from Sao Paulo. The interior of Sao Paulo is like a huge, you know, talent pool for Jiu-Jitsu. A lot of champions came out of that region. More than the city of Sao Paulo itself, if you ask me. And you see Paganini is up by 8 because Gabriel has a -1. I'm sorry, actually, Gabriel's up because...
Muniz is up 1.
Yes, Gabriel's up. 1
penalty apiece for that double guard pull earlier.
But Gabriel has an advantage. You can see Paganini trying to reach behind the back there, not too worried about a triangle or anything.
Risky move, but definitely works.
Yeah, it's difficult to, you know, get that triangle, and it's so slippery. Harder, Matt. Still risky. And Paganini there on top. Gabriel, Almeida, Muniz, bottom.
I'd like to see Almeida open up a bit from bottom here. I'd like to see him get his guard going somewhat, shall we say?
I was just thinking that. Like he's up, so maybe he doesn't feel like, you know, he has to open, that it falls on Paganini to do something. But he does have an open guard, and a very efficient one at that. So I'd love to see what he can do in case, you know, you open up the game a little bit more. Right now, there's not a lot happening.
There's a big Alliance contingent here today, actually, Robert. You know, we saw so many of them competing, and we can hear them coaching Paganini behind us. You've got Vinicius Trator, Fabio Caloi, Atos Miranda, and many others. They're all here supporting each other.
Huge. And Trator was going to be up soon. He's actually an ADCC finalist.
Yep. Oh, well, Trator, no-gi pan champion recently. Beat Keenan Cornelius at the no-gi pans in September. Really, I think put him on the map, because Trator, we already knew how good he was, but when you take out those big names, that's when you really make your mark, right?
Yeah, and exactly. It takes a big win, against like someone like Keenan to put you on the map, because he actually beat Vinny at ADCC too, Vinny Magalhães. Oh, beautiful.
Climbing up is Almeida, looking for this close guard attack.
Got to control to get that head down. There might have been work that armbar.
That's good work from Almeida. You know, I mentioned how I'd like to see him open up his close guard a little bit, but actually his close guard from bottom has looked pretty good so far.
And it's so hard to get that armbar from close guard when it's no-gi. If you can get it, man, that's always, it's a testament to how good your close guard is. It's not an easy thing to do. Yeah, you can see Paganini's corner telling him to stand up. And that's exactly what he's got to do. He's got to free that right arm, and he's got to stand up quick. The best thing that can happen for someone who's inside someone else's close guard is nothing. That's the best case scenario, right? If you're up on points, you know, it's not something I teach, it's not something I like, but it makes sense strategically. But when you're down on points, it makes no sense to stay on your knees and be waiting. Paganini really has to switch gears here and push hard to stand up and get out of that close guard so he can do something.
Almeida climbing higher, trying to get his legs up and over the shoulders, but every time he comes forward, Paganini just manages to get his shoulders a little further deeper in and get back to safety. But you see actually that Almeida on the other side, it's tough to see, but on the other side that Almeida has reached around his leg, and I believe he's got his hands clasped. So it's his entire body weight is hanging on the right shoulder of Paganini.
So that position right there, it can be used offensively, but I will tell you, defensively, it's one of the most annoying positions in Jiu-Jitsu. You are stuck. It may seem like, oh, just pull your arm out of there. If you've been in there, you know what I'm talking about. It is very difficult to get your arm out. This buys Almeida a lot of time. So, you know,
Almeida climbing now, climbing. Looks like he could potentially go for the triangle here. Looks like one of Paganini's arms is a little deep, is a little out. You see the, there it is, going for the triangle attempt.
This could be it.
Manages to get his head out, but still not out of danger, omoplata.
And see if we can get that sweep. If he comes up, nothing.
Oh, into the guillotine.
Well defended by Paganini. Now he's got to free that
head. Not out of trouble, though.
Oh. Nice attachment there by Gabriel.
Great chain attacks from the triangle to the omoplata to the guillotine.
Absolutely.
Almeida really throwing attack after attack at Paganini. A great defense there.
Yeah, guillotine is one of those moves that if you're not tapping within the first 5 seconds, chances are they're going to pull their head out. Right, guillotine's like if the attachment is right, they got about maybe just over 5 seconds and they'll tap, right? But it gets to a certain point where if you haven't tapped them yet, you're just squeezing, you're just wasting energy. And I think that's what happened. Gabriel thought, he realized he didn't have anything and just like, all right, let's just get back to the fight. Still up though. I thought he would have gotten an advantage for at least one of those, but nothing. That was an armbar to omoplata to guillotine. And notice that he didn't score a single advantage.
Not one advantage.
Because you got to remember, the criteria is not attacking the submission, it is near submission. So you
nice sweep though there from Almeida, coming into top now.
Beautiful.
Good work here. Finally gets some points on the board. 1 minute 30 remaining. Immediately looking to improve with the pass.
And solidifying his win with just over a minute left. Paganini's really got to... I think that a sweep is not enough for Paganini at this point. He needs a submission. Or perhaps a sweep to the back or a sweep to mount. A sweep into like a half guard with just his ankle trap maybe, and then pass and score 4 or 5 points.
Paganini trying to come up, but difficult prospect when that arm is around the neck like that. We did see Almeida score an Anaconda submission win yesterday against Jake Watson. So we know that he can strangle an opponent if necessary.
30 seconds left, and Paganini's got to do something.
There is the anaconda. There it is.
Could be it.
He's rolling through, walking the hips closer. If maybe hook the leg over the top. He's got 20 seconds to work on this. He looks tight.
And yeah, he's got to trap that leg. That's why Paganini is going in a circle.
Wow, advantage scored though. I mean, you could see the pressure, but one of those moves that if it's just a fraction of an inch off, the guy can, he can survive.
You can see Almeida smiling.
Oh, very
celebrating.
Comfortable win there for Gabriel Almeida. And you know, as promising as we were talking, as promising a talent as Paganini is, I think that's the experience right there for Gabriel Almeida.
Yes, and that's huge. I don't think people realize how much experience counts, right? Like just knowing the rule set, knowing how the refs think, knowing your surroundings. Because if you've competed for 10, 15 years, you've made so many mistakes in your career, you have plenty of time to correct them.
Well, here's a replay there of that last choke. See, Paganini was trying to wrestle up, but it was that arm on around the neck, keeping his head down, made it difficult for him to drive up and try to score that reversal. Good work there from Gabriel.